I know, I was bored too when I first got into the program. Shit, alcohol was my best friend. I did it with everything. Everything. I had a beer in my hand for every situation you can think of. And when I quit, when I finally admitted I was powerless over the shit, it scared the hell out of me because I wasn't sure how I was going to manage life without alcohol in the picture. So, there in the beginning, I spent some weeks just kind of bored, not knowing what to do. But as time went on and I was doing the program and meeting with my sponsor, reading the book, kind of just learning the deal, learning what the hell everyone was talking about. This too shall pass, or easy does it, one step at a time, the serenity prayer, things like that. In the beginning, nothing really made sense to me because my mind was so cloudy. And all I wanted to do was feed the beast. The beast was crying. The beast was upset because it wasn't getting its medicine, And in that period, there was a mourning period where I got really sad because, alcohol was like my best friend. Happy times and bad times. But when it came time for the spiritual part of the program, step 2, step 3, I started to read books regarding spirituality. One particular subject I started reading about was Buddhism. And Buddhism, if you read into it, it's a pretty, I think of it as a beautiful philosophy of living. I started to learn through reading Buddhism, or learning about Buddhism is just a right way of living, a right way of talking, speech. What comes out of the mouth really does matter. How I work my job, right livelihood, being the best possible employee I can be, using heart and gratitude while I'm working and things like that. It goes on and on. There's a book in Buddhism, I forgot what it's called. It has to do with death and accepting your death and how beautiful actually death is. But the boredom started to subside. I was learning a whole lot besides what I had learned when I was growing up in Catholic school and things like that. I started to learn a whole new perspective on spirituality. Then I started to read books that I forgot his name, Donald Walsh. It's a series of books called Conversations with God, and that book actually kind of helped me to standardize my relationship with my higher power. I mean, when we get in this program, we're not as open-minded as we thought we once were. Now, yeah, I mean, we took some psychedelics, some acid, some mushrooms and things like that, and we thought we were truly opening our mind, and maybe some of us were at some point. I know I had opened my mind up when I took some mushrooms, and I actually have never been the same since. But conversations with God helped me to start standardizing my relationship with my higher power based on what I felt was right, based on what I actually wanted to believe in, as opposed to what they were telling me to believe in. Growing up as a Catholic, I was told what to believe in, and if I didn't believe it, the devil was going to get me. And naturally, that was one of my biggest fears, the devil. So, yeah, I really started to enjoy learning about these different types of spirituality, so to speak, these different types of religions and philosophies, and what it all boiled down to was that, for me at least, is love and kindness and being of service. Love and kindness and being of service. Now, as far as, going back to the being bored thing, I mean, there's one thing that I really enjoyed doing, which was just noticing the landscape, the trees, and nature and things like that. I've always loved it, even when I was drinking and drugging. I started growing trees, and my favorite tree to look at and be around is the live oak, the oak tree, Texas oak trees. If you go to the Houston Zoo, there's a huge oak tree that's been pruned a little bit, but over the years, what it looks like is that over the years that it's been left alone, so its branches have been allowed to kind of grow into these long, beautiful arms that you could actually kind of build a huge tree house on, or put some swings on, and just, when I think of that oak tree, I think of it as being this loving spirit that wants me to be next to it and to climb its branches and sit and meditate and things like that. And anyway, so I started growing oak trees. And if you really want to test your patience, I tell you what, grow some trees. I would love for my trees right now to be as beautiful as some of the oak trees I've seen out here on the road, or the oak tree in the Houston Zoo. And unfortunately, it's not going to get that size, at least in my lifetime. So I have to be patient. In 30 years, it's only probably going to be 30 to 25 feet tall, at least what I'm growing. But I'll know in my heart when I die, if left alone, it can be as beautiful as some of these trees that I see out here. I mean, if you want to really test your patience, there it is. So one thing that helps me with my boredom is growing trees. I've kind of chosen to pick some hobbies to make the time go by. I mean, and when you're out here and you're in this program and you're practicing the 12th step, which is service to humankind and to the world and nature and all of its animals and beings and things like that, life can get kind of boring. Especially early on in the program. So, and this is where in my toolkit, again, I've talked about tools. It's like this too shall pass, this boredom too shall pass. I sit and I wait for God to give me a little inspiration and things like that. But at the same time, I believe God doesn't just want me to sit down here and wait for Him to grant me some inspiration. It's the action. I just have to get out and do the thing that God wants me to do. And through that, I'm going to get some inspiration. Reading the big book, I'm going to get some inspiration. So, the boredom, it will pass. Pick some hobbies. And through those hobbies, practice overcoming your defects of character. For example, growing trees. I tell you what, one of the main pillars that holds up my negative character defects, if you can understand, is impatience. My impatience will lead to fear and to worry and to anxiety and depression. If I'm not patient, I'm going to stray off the path. So growing trees helps me to practice patience. So pick a hobby that helps you. Go skydiving. Are you afraid of heights? Go skydiving. Go climb a cliff. But be safe, of course. But one of the things I've learned in this program is we have to face our fears. We have to say hello to our fears, because we're never going to get over our fears if we don't experience our fears full on. We got to say, hello, fear. I love you. I'm going to overcome you. Whatever fear that may be. Now, one of my biggest fears is, I don't know what. Honestly, I would have to say it used to be the evil one, the devil. It used to be my greatest fear. And actually, when I took mushrooms and psychedelics, I always had a bad trip. And my trip went straight to my worst fear. And the psychosis that I used to get always went back to that worst fear. And in the program, what I've learned is this. And I know this might be a little sacrilegious to some people. I don't know why it would be, but I've come to realize that, you know what? If there is an evil one, if there is a devil, it's me. It's my flesh. And when I don't give my will over to the care of God, to the care of God is my understanding. If I don't stay truthful to who and what I am, and that's an alcoholic, in the flesh, if I don't hold myself accountable and do this thing, this 12 steps, fuck yeah, the devil's gonna come right on out. I mean, I think we can all agree. I was told all my life that the devil was the one. No, my biggest fucking mistake in my life has been holding the devil accountable for my actions. What about me? Who's in charge here? Me or the fucking devil? No, I am. I'm in charge of all my actions. I have to hold myself accountable. Me, not the devil. I'm the problem. No one else is the problem around there, out here in this world, but me. I'm the problem. And until I can be truthful to myself of who and what I am, who I've hurt, who I need to forgive, and forgive myself, that is when I'm going to break free from those chains. And let me tell you something, I've gotten over that fear because I've grown to understand this about myself. If I don't give it up to God, yeah, the devil's coming, and that's me. And if I continue to not give it up to God for the next, until the day I die, yeah, oh yeah, you best be believing I'm going to turn into a raging alcoholic. I'm going to hurt people. I'm going to become mentally insane. And it's going to and if I manage to stay alive through all this shit, I'm going to become the greatest fucking drug addict, alcoholic known to man. And if I can't get it, yeah, most definitely I will probably kill someone to get my drug. That's what I've come to understand. The beast is the ism, the flesh. And alcohol and drugs are my main form of poison to make me feel what I have been searching all my life. So it's a blessing. This flesh, this alcohol, this addiction is a blessing. Now I know I'm ranting and raving, but it's very important to understand these things about ourselves, and we got to hold ourselves accountable. We have to be truthful. We have to be willing to fight. We have to be willing to overcome our fears, to overcome our character defects. So, back to boredom. Pick a hobby that helps you to overcome your defects of character. In terms of my greatest fear, which I just explained, reading and thinking outside of the box, questioning everything. Set aside the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, set aside the program, set aside everything, and try to think for yourself. I mean, of course, I always come back to the 12 steps and what Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me, because if it wasn't for Alcoholics Anonymous, I would not be where I'm at today. So, if you're out there, you're bored, man, just grab your chair, white knuckle, and get to work. But I get it. It's hard in the beginning. The boredom is hard. It's hard to deal with because the alcohol and the drugs is what kept us moving, kept us going. Now that alcohol is gone, drugs are gone, gambling is gone, eating is gone. Uh-oh. Shit. Went in my other lane. We're bored. And I tell you right now, your higher power, that's where he wants you to be. Not drinking, not drugging, not taking away the sunlight of the spirit. But right now, in my opinion, he wants us all to get that shit out of our lives so we can be open to the sunlight of the spirit. That's what I got. Get her done. I'm in Kansas right now. A lot of weird fog going on. It's kind of scary. Yeah, take it easy. Wait, let's let this truck disappear into the fog. Because I don't want no one messing up my camera shot. Is he gone? Yeah, he's gone.